kitchen. So there is only a few days left until Christmas, so I thought I would make one more Christmas themed video tutorial for this year. So if you still haven't made your Christmas cake, then why not make a Christmas reindeer? Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do in order to make my reindeer cake is fill and stack my cake. I've just got here 5 layers of 6-inch chocolate cake, which are around an inch in height each. And I've also got a batch of chocolate buttercream. Now, my reindeer is going to be filled and covered with the buttercream. So I'm just going to start by filling and stacking my cake. And I'll put a link in the description below to all the recipes that I've used. And now that it's filled, I'm going to go ahead and just put a crumb coat around the outside of my cake just to lock in any of those cake crumbs. I'm just going in with my metal scraping tool just to make sure those sides are completely flat. So once you're happy with that first crumb coat, I'm just going to pop this in the fridge for around 10 minutes just for that buttercream to harden slightly so we can put our final outer layer of buttercream onto the cake. Okay, so while the cake is chilling in the fridge, I'm going to make a start on the antlers for our reindeer. So first of all, I've got this template which just has the 2 antlers on there. Now I will put a link in the description below where you can download this so that you can use the same one yourselves. I've then got a sheet of parchment paper. I've got 2 long wooden skewers, my piping bag with a number 3 tip, so just with a small round end. If you don't have that, you can just chop a very small amount of the piping bag off at the end. And I've also got some dark chocolate candy melts. Now these are candy melts, you can just use normal chocolate and just melt it down. So I'm going to melt these down in the microwave for intervals of around 10 to 20 seconds, just until it's in liquid form, and I'm going to pop it into my piping bag. I'm then just going to bring in my reindeer antler template with my parchment paper over the top, and I'm just going to start by tracing around the antlers with the chocolate. Once I've traced around one of those, I'm just going to fill in. I'm just going to take my wooden skewer and I'm just going to lay that on top of my antler, just so that we've got some of the wooden skewer going into the antler, and we've still got about 3.5 inches to go into the cake to hold it up. So once that's in place, I'm just going to go over the top of the antler again, just to make sure that that stick is fully covered. And this is also just going to make the antler a lot thicker, so it's got a bit more structure to it. Go in with a cocktail stick and just smooth out some of that chocolate and get rid of any air bubbles. So once you're happy with your first antler, I'm just going to go ahead and do exactly the same to the other one. Okay, so once you're happy with your 2 antlers, I'm just going to pop these both in the fridge just until they harden. Okay, so I've taken my cake out of the fridge. So the next thing to do is just give it its final coating of chocolate buttercream. Okay, so when using my scraping tool, I'm just going to make sure that that bottom edge is sitting on my board so that we get a perfect right angle. Okay, so once you're happy with how your buttercream is looking, I'm just going to pop this in the fridge for another 10 minutes just for this to harden while we add the decoration. I'm then going to cover the board that the cake is going to go on. So I've just got a 10-inch drum board here, and I'm going to cover this with some red icing just to match his nose. Now I'm just going to brush on some water just to make that icing stick, and just drape it over and cut off any excess with my pizza cutter. And I've also got some red ribbon just to go around the edge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make some of his features so that they're ready to go onto the cake. This is going to be the nose on the front of his face. So I've just got a ball of the red leftover icing, and this one is just about 2 inches in diameter, and I'm just going to roll that into a ball and just make it slightly cylindrical. I'm then just going to flatten down the back of that nose, and the reason for this is just so it will sit better on the cake and it will be slightly easier to attach. I'm then just going to create a small light spot in the corner. Okay, so I'm just going to take a really small ball of the white icing, and I'm just going to push on one side just to create a teardrop shape. I'm then just going to push that down with my fingers and then just pop it onto the side of the nose. I'm then just going to take some of my confectioner's glaze and just paint this all over the top, which is going to make it look a bit more like Rudolph's nose is shining. Okay, so to create his ears that are going to go in front of his antlers, I've just got some brown icing or fondant here. Now I've just coloured this with some dark brown and some chestnut just to match the colour of our buttercream, and I've also got a lighter ivory centre. I've then got two different sizes of rose cutters. So I've got this larger one that measures around 2 inches across and a smaller one which is around 1 inch across. Now I'm going to keep this at a thickness of around 2 to 3 millimeters and just cut out the larger. Now the point, which is usually the bottom of the rose, is actually going to be the top of his ear. I'm then going to roll out some of our ivory icing and just using the smaller cutter cut out a smaller piece. I'm then just going to pick that up and just lay that on top of the darker brown. I'm then just going to take my knife and just do 2 little cuts in the side and just smooth those down so they look like 2 little points, and this is just going to make it look like the fur on the reindeer's ears. And just chop the last centimetre off of the bottom and just wrap that round, and you've got this nice flat bottom that's going to sit on the cake. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of those and just leave them to one side just to dry slightly. Okay, so I've just taken my cake out of the fridge and I've just got the red board. So I'm just going to put a small piece of buttercream onto that board and just transfer my cake over. I'm then just going to add a small collar around the bottom of our reindeer. So just a green strip which is 1 centimetre in height. So once I know that's long enough, I'm just going to use my pizza cutter and just cut a strip of that green icing. I'm then just going to pop a small amount of edible glue just onto the bottom of that cake and then wrap it all the way around the bottom, and I'm just going to make the 2-piece join at the back and also a little Christmas bell. So I've just got some ivory icing here, but I will be colouring this in gold. I'm just going to take a ball of that icing, and this one is about 1 inch in diameter. I'm then going to take some more of that icing and just roll that out into a really thin sausage shape. I'm just going to wrap this length around the edge of our bell and just join those 2 pieces together. I'm then going to use my small ball tool and I'm just push in 4 holes. I've then got this modelling tool that just has a straight edge, so I'm just going to join those holes up, creating a cross in the centre. So we have this Christmas bell, and I'm just going to put that to one side just for it to dry slightly so that we can add some gold lustre dust. So now I've got his nose that we made and that confectioner's glaze has all dried. All I'm going to do is just push some cocktail sticks into my cake, and these are just going to hold the nose just because we don't want it to lie down. So I'm just going to pop a small amount of water just onto the back of that nose and push that into place. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is add his eyes. I've then just got some black icing and I'm just going to create some closed eyes which are very similar to ones that you will see on unicorn cake. So I've just got a ball which is around 1 centimetre in diameter, and I'm just going to roll that out so it's slightly thicker on one end and it just goes to a point on the other end. So I'm just going to put edible glue just onto the back, and then where I've got the larger end, I'm just going to place that close to the nose, bring into a slight flip at the end. So once that's in place, you've got the first of his eyes. I'm then just going to take a very small amount of the black and just roll that out and just trim that off till it's about 1 centimetre in length and pop that in place as a little eyelash. So there we have the first of his eyes. I'm then going to do exactly the same to the other side. We have his 2 matching eyes, and the next thing that I'm going to do is add his antlers. Okay, so now we're ready to add our antlers onto our cake. I've just taken them out of the fridge and I can then just peel them off of that parchment paper. We've then just got our 2 antlers. So I'm just going to pick those antlers up and I'm just going to push those into the top of the cake, and they're going to attach the ears that we made. I'm just going to take the first one with the little bits of hair sticking to the side, and I'm just going to push those into that buttercream. Okay, so before we add the bell onto the reindeer, I've just got some royal gold luster dust here, and I'm just gonna add in some Sugar Flare Rejuvenating Spirit just to turn it into a paint. And then once that has all been painted, I'm just gonna leave that to one side to dry just so we can add that to our cake. Okay, so once our Christmas bell is dry, I'm just gonna pop a small amount of edible glue just onto the back of that and just stick that to the edge of the cake so that it looks like it's attached to that green collar. And I'm just gonna finish the cake off with some holly on top. So to make the holly, I'm just gonna roll out some of that extra green icing and then just cut out 2 pieces of holly with this holly plunger. I'm just gonna slightly pinch end of that just to create leaf shape. I'm then just going to use some of the red and just create a few little berries, and I'm just going to put a small dot in the center of those. I'm just going to pop a small amount of edible glue just onto the back of that and pop that in front of one of his ears and add in those little berries. So once that's in place, here we have our finished reindeer cake. Tutorial and will enjoy making your own Christmas reindeer. If you have, then don't forget to give this video a like, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, then don't forget to subscribe. You can also hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button, and this will just alert you every time a new video is uploaded. Lastly, I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Bye!